Well, hello and welcome. I'm Sue Britz,
And I'm Tina Lokkbakk. Welcome to Retired.
the podcast where we talk about what life is like when we put on new tread, new wheels that move us to our next adventure.
So I'm going to shock your little world, Sue.
Uh-oh.
I've got a topic today.
I'm scared.
It's about, ready for this?
Okay.
Retirement.
I'll hold it.
Isn't that original?
That's what we do. You're shocking me, and are you like having some concerns?
So here we go. I have a theory. So I've shared with you, not to the listeners, but I've been doing this course, quote, from Julia Cameron called The Artist's Way. So I'm writing 3 8x11 pages every day. And yesterday I came across, because it's just like fluid consciousness, what do you call it? Stream of consciousness writing.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to think about retirement based on a podcast I heard. And this guy's like, I don't want to retire. I love my job. I want to do this till I'm 95. And I was thinking to myself, retirement, and I want to hear your thoughts because I have a feeling we might disagree. I agreed with this guy. I think that when we love what we do, we don't want to retire. Retirement, I think, came about truly. We used to work until we died, right? We didn't have this thing called retirement.
Right.
So it was based probably, I'm guessing, the Industrial Revolution. And so everybody hated their job, their machines going in to do monotonous work. And I think so many of us fall into jobs that are not in alignment or extremely stressful. And so we wish to retire while there's still some life left in us to do the fun things. But I want to open it up to perhaps if we actually really loved our jobs, we would not want to retire. We would want to continue doing the thing that we were doing. So what are your thoughts?
I hear what you're saying. I think philosophically that kind of works, but I think in the reality of life, a job requires, most jobs I would say, a job requires a certain level of responsibility that maybe you don't want anymore. As you get older, your focus can shift. Your foci can shift.
Oh, excellent.
But one of the things that I think I was aware of especially as getting older, but I really feel now is your physicality, your physical fitness, your mental fitness, your emotional fitness, all of those things. When you have got a job, then you're required to give it all. I mean, or close to give it all. And at the same time, manage the rest of your life,
Right.
taking care of doing the laundry and the shopping and the
Yeah.
cooking and the cleaning.
House repairs, any kind of repairs.
Yes. And it's a lot. As your body shifts and changes, as your mind shifts and changes, your heart shifts and changes because, you're also losing friends along the way and family members. And those things affect us as well, differently as we get older, I think. And, to draw a parallel, put this with what's going on with the old men that are running our nation or have been running our nation of late. Perhaps they shouldn't be doing the friggin' job because they're kind of doing it wrong. They've caused a lot of damage to our nation and to the world for that matter. But to come back to like just teaching, for example, if I wanted to, I think that being a teacher, I really felt that, and it became a real strong part of my identity. And I think that I was listening to a podcast today about the changing of education with AI and how to use it and how not, and how students are different today. And I've only been out of the classroom 5 years, but 5 years is a lot, especially in this time, this transition with technology. But
And post-COVID.
yeah, and I think that even if I had this passion to still engage with helping kids learn and grow, because it helps me learn and grow too,
Exactly.
I would want to do it really, really differently. Just the
Mm-hmm.
responsibility of that job,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that anymore. I don't want that responsibility. I, I don't want that anymore. And so for me, this shift to retirement's been pretty easy. I've got so many other things to engage with, and
At your own pace.
yeah, and to shift from one thing to the other. I can my attention can stay here for a little while, and then I can do it over there. By the way, do you hear that jingle jingle in the background, people?
So,
That is our lovely
Gigi.
friend Gigi. She's so cute. I can see her
Oh, you
now.
can.
Yeah, and she's settling in now. So just so you know, folks, Gigi's always there. Okay.
Yes.
So back to the
She's
topic.
nesting on my bed.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think of that response?
So I think that teaching and maybe what is it, the FAA, Federal Aviation
Hmm.
Association, I think that our jobs require more than an average go to work, go to an office, have meetings, sit at your cubicle, do the desk work, or going in and assembly lining something, or working for Amazon packaging up boxes.
Absolutely.
So I think that teaching is a different thing. And now I'm going to go on a tangent. Follow me. I met you in 1997. It was like the beginning of, we had floppy disks. I remember you helping me put information on a floppy. And it was really just like the beginning of really starting to email. And I think about when I left, and then I took that 12-year hiatus being a stay-at-home mom, running my own business. We'll put that aside. And then I come back. And I just have to say, Sue, that the demands of teaching keep increasing. All the trainings that you have to do before you even start school anymore. I mean, I just think that teaching is a different beast.
Hmm.
And I think that it was sustainable when you were back in the 1800s, without all the technology, without the fundraising, without the this, without the that. And it was just, you show up to work, you teach the children, you grade, and you go home. I think it was different, even with the emotional drains and all the expectations. So I think retirement from teaching is understandable, even though we love it. And I think that other jobs that are less stressful, less demanding, I think applies better than maybe teaching, why we would want to retire, because it is truly soul sucking. Teaching is soul filling, but it's just overwhelming in the amount of responsibility and time.
Hmm. About the other thing is that, people, as you work, you enjoy the money, the income. And so, or you actually need the money and the income, and,
Yeah.
and it doesn't shift. That doesn't change as you get older. There could be any number of demands on needing to earn money. And so what better way to do it than in what your craft that you've learned through the course of your lifetime, and you're going to get paid better at that level. So for someone who loves their job, so like I'm imagining my dad, he loved he was an engineer to the nth degree. His mind functioned that way. And he could probably have gone on to continue with consulting with the development of the transformer or whatever it is he was doing. So he could have done that job, but he wouldn't. I don't think that again, at a certain age, to go in for a 40-hour week and have to limit you to doing that, rather than being able to go on his road trips and travel and see family, and if someone's sick, take care of them, or take care of yourself, God forbid. And all these things that happen as you get older, professional jobs, or it could be even non-quote professional jobs where you can consult and come in and help out. So for example, if I really love my job of being a barista, and because there's so much, I mean, just being able to get through a shift and being able to keep all those cups coming and get every order right, and the coffee's the right temperature,
Taste
and you've
level.
got, yes, you've got, and you haven't burned anything, and all the things, and then you get to interact with people and your colleagues that you really enjoy, that energy, that bustle. Again, you're not going to want to carry that for 40 hours a week necessarily as you turn 65, 75, 85. You said 90, so I can't even imagine that. But could you not consult? When they hire a new person, you could come in and train that person, even being able to talk to your customers as they come in. So that consultation kind of job, or volunteering, if you will, but you shouldn't, I mean, why should you not be paid for that day? If
I
you're going,
agree.
yeah. So anyhow, that's just a thought.
So I had this podcast I listened to yesterday was phenomenal. I'm just going to say it out there. It's Tourpreneur, and it's about basically the travel industry, the tourism industry, and it's about tour guides specifically and things that travel agencies can use and learn from. And yesterday they had on this man, amazing, and he was so inspirational. And he does walking tours, which is kind of what I've been thinking about. It's not just walking, but it's just being calm, reflective, and changing tourism from being frantic, seeing a million things and packing it into kind of calming the nervous system down through nature and talks and slowness. And this guy like represented the whole thing. And what he was saying, and that's what struck the topic for me today, was he's like, I love my job. And I know he's at least as old as we are, if not older. And he said, I love my job so much that when I am 95, maybe someone could just wheel me around in a wheelchair, because he can't take walking tours maybe in the same way he would adapt. And I've been thinking, like, as I'm going back into this thing with Maria and the Cuba tours that I can't let go and won't, my thought is maybe we adapt, like you said. You go from doing the thing to being the mentor of the thing. So I was thinking, so how many years can I realistically take people on tours? And it's like, well, it really depends on my health and my energy level, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, you adapt. I was thinking, well, if I'm a senior citizen, I could take senior citizens, because we're all going to be at the senior citizen energy level.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's called adaptation. And I think the other thought is too, as I go along, I find people that I can entrust that have been my like apprentices, and you put them in those positions, and then I oversee the thing as it goes on. So you still, like you said, you still get to enjoy the thing, but it's a different way of enjoying it. So it doesn't have to be the thing. With teaching, I don't think there's a way to do it other than be that mentor teacher in the back of the room, which I don't see happening anymore, but that would be ideal.
Yeah.
I guess that's what student teaching is all about. But
we used to talk about, the ancient, our grade level was to teaching about ancient societies, whether it was ancient world or ancient U.S. If to just kind of take that same metaphor, if you go back in time when people were living in their family units and within a smaller community, the elders, of course, you didn't live as long usually as
right.
you used to, but you would their job would adapt and change, and they would become those mentors, those experts in the field of whatever it was that they were good at, whether it was basket weaving and the materials that you'd use and the temperature
So
that you,
true.
or whether it was the skinning of an animal or the napping of a tool or whatever it had to be. You didn't have to. You developed that skill through your lifetime, and then as you became the master of your crafts, you would share that with the other people, and you were a valuable integral part of society. And maybe that's part of the question too that we're looking at is, are we, as we retire, valuable integral parts of society? And I think some people are more tied to feeling the need to be that, because that's what we get excited about is doing things and accomplishing and
Having goals and purpose.
yes. And if you're still into that, then you need that. There should be avenues for that. Likewise, if you're like, okay, I've done that, I want
Yeah.
to try a different gig, and maybe I'm going to go find someone who can help me with it to learn this new gig at a level that I'm interested in doing. So I that's part of it is valuing seniors, whatever their entry level is and what their need is too, because that dude at the door at that greets you as you come in, who sometimes is in a chair or a wheelchair, but they've got the charisma, the
You're
the
right.
the gravitas to welcome you and
You're
direct you
right.
here or make your day. That's what you want. That's what you want. There's got to be avenues for us.
And you connected the dots and you were kind of coming to this point. Maybe that is when it all changed. We used to respect in all cultures the elderly. They
Mm-hmm.
were the wise, they were protected, they were loved, they were cherished, they were nurtured. Now we leave people to just die on their own without respect, without really having an interest in anything they have to teach or say. I mean, that's the reality. It's changed. And I wonder if that's why, because we no longer see the skills that these people have mastered as something worthwhile in creating and to keep going through. Like we don't have apprenticeships like we used to.
Yeah.
And so now I'm going to tie in this morning. I just read on the BBC. It was about Trump wanting to, up the fabrication industry, industrial, right? Create more factories and things produced here. But what they're saying in this thing, 50% of the jobs can't be filled. They can't find anyone to fill them. And the problem is that industry has changed. Our factories have changed. And you can say, here's this job, but no one has the skills. So until you invest, and then it was talking just about apprenticeships, the importance of not only training through courses, but we need apprentices and apprenticeship programs in order to learn the skills necessary. And without those skills, they aren't going to be hired. So it's kind of like chicken and egg, right? It's not just building this factory and saying, come work. You've got to spend and invest in the training of this new technology and systems that we have in place because it's changed completely. So it goes back to, we need more apprenticeships. Do you remember the thing called ROTC?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I thought it was the great, wait, was it ROTC? No, that's the military.
Right. Well, that was a good one too.
But that was an apprenticeship.
Right.
But there was also this other thing where kids could work, get a job, and get units for it. So they would go out into the community and they would work and learn the skill. And that would be backed and supported with units and towards graduation. And it died. And what a shame, because that is, again, apprenticeship, right? To learn the skill through people that have mastered it in the community. It's a win-win. And those are the things we've lost. And as this article had even said, our government leaders have focused so much on everyone's going to go to college and no one's going to fail and everyone's going to graduate. Well, it's not realistic, and not everyone is meant to go to college. We need people to do other things. Some people are very physical and want to use their body. All of it's important, right? But we aren't supporting that anymore. We have the one focus. We go to a 4-year college. And I think it's starting to shift because all of our billionaires said, screw this. And they quit college to go into the tech industry and have proven that you could be a multi-billionaire without ever having a 4-year degree and no debt, or at least not college debt. Anyway, I think that apprenticeships are important, and I think retirement doesn't have to be. And like you said, if you loved your job as a barista but no longer have the energy to stand there, stressing with the lines going out the door, what a beautiful way to have someone who loves it to be involved in a different way. But I think, again, it goes to economy, right? Who's going to pay for that person?
Well, yeah, and to keep them on the list of resources that you're going to use. Things have changed so much, and we got to change the way that we think about how we're going to incorporate. I mean, we're talking about elders, but it's the same thing goes with young people. Do you need to go to a 4-year college. Maybe you do, but you don't want to. And so the way that
Yeah.
you work and the way your mind is, there's got to be other alternatives. We've said this always, but it seems more really important right now because of the changes that we've had in society with the families staying at home so often. It's, all parents are out working, and the kids come home or they go to a daycare or whatever it might be. There's also, issues with AI. And, kids now just like, okay, I'm not engaged. I don't, I just
Yeah.
push the button and AI will, produce my homework for me. Here's my stuff. So if you're not learning how to find your place in the world when you're a young person, that's going to really shut down what your future looks like and what our nation, our world will look like is if people shut down. I mean, we've got to find different ways to engage people, and yeah, at all levels, from the young and all the way to those of us who are older.
So you just made me think of Buddhism. I know. Let's go back thousands of years, and what is the one thing we can all count on? Change. And I think the problem in modern day society is it's reluctant, at least maybe the government, maybe because it is an older, archaic system, but change is not the thing that we are after. And that is the constant. And I think, like you were saying, we have to figure out how to incorporate AI. We need our teachers trained in today's way of learning. I mean, it's so different from our way. And then imagine 50 years before that. And I don't think we're keeping up. We still have a system in place that was based on the 1800s of what we're to learn and how. And we have not really changed much. We've added more things. There's some tweaks, but have we really changed the system?
Well, I hear what you're saying. At the same time, I'm hearing what they're talking about. This article I was telling you about, the podcast I was listening to this morning, where it talks about basically project-based learning. And,
Oh,
they call it, there's a different word for it now, but project-based learning is, I did that
yep,
through all my teaching career. And
yep.
so I think there's a lot of truths and knowledge that teachers really understand and how to
Hmm.
relate to kids and how to motivate them and help them grow. Some of that is certain things in school systems are required that we have to do.
Hmm.
Others we get to, if we're lucky enough, we can guide ourselves if we're given the opportunity to do so.
Hmm.
I think teachers know how
I do
to
too.
reach kids, and those basic wisdoms applied that we've learned, we understand at a gut level, applied in a those how to say this. I think that if we trust teachers to Gigi, if we trust teachers to implement the teaching, to facilitate that teaching in the classroom, rather than be told, here's what you will receive
Yes,
training on,
correct.
here's how that maybe in fact some of these mentors who are older could do some of the protecting around that, so rather than get on the bandwagon, oh, teachers have to change and adapt. No, no, no. I think we've got it. I think teachers know
I
their
think you're right.
craft, and a real teacher knows their
I
craft and
think you're
can
right.
deliver it. And so going back to like project-based learning, told you so, told you so. I mean, we've known that these things work, and those are
Right.
what engage kids. And so, how do you then adapt AI, for example, in project-based learning? So that's a way to,
Yes.
rather than say, okay, I want an essay. Okay, well then push a button. Here's the essay. You'll get some kids who will write the essay and then use AI in creative ways to help them better that essay. But you've got to find different things that work for different learners, and what their final output is at the end. Like you say, some kids are going to do really well in college. Some kids are going to go to college and find out that that's not that doesn't work for them. But that was an important learning experience.
Oh, that's true.
You're going to have kids who don't go to college and figure out later down the line, I really want to. You're going to find kids that don't go to college and find other avenues that fit them perfectly. And so this is what we need to adapt and trust those teachers that know those kids. That's what I say.
I agree 100%. I think you're on to the whole thing. And I think that's what's being lost as time keeps moving forward.
Yeah.
Is there more and more regulations, things you have to follow, the textbook you must adhere to. Like my last teaching stint where I was teaching high school Spanish with the book, I think I said before, that was 25 years old. And they were expecting that I continue the whole process of turning to page 52. Here are the worksheets that go with the program. Like, it's like, are you kidding? We have learned so much more about language development, and you're forcing me, guilting me, and shaming me to do this archaic method. And I think that's... Yeah. What's that?
Oh, and not even speak of, you're not allowed to say certain words. You can't, there's no DEI. You can't say certain words. You can't talk about certain things. I mean, just the restrictions on teaching today, it's insane.
And that's what I think, and like that's what you were alluding to, is if we would lift those restrictions and let teachers do what they intuitively know, which is reading a human being and how to best reach them. You're right. But that freedom, I think, is deteriorating, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that is affecting things also. But we also have to invest financially, because you can't have... So the lady that took my place, she was 2 teachers after me in 2 years. So 2 people quit after me, same position of 3 jobs. They decided to put the other 2 positions to different people, rightfully so. So now they each have their own jobs. And this lady is now teaching 6 periods of 40 students in each class and is the Spanish teacher because the other one left. So can you imagine teaching 40 kids per class? That's insane. So what I'm saying is, even if we open up the freedom for a teacher, we cannot be putting teachers into positions where they're taking on 6 periods. And she's getting an emergency credential simultaneously. Tell me that's effective.
Scary.
Yeah. So retirement from that, understandable. But I'm talking too about just jobs where how many people, Sue, do you know, went into a job that they really barely tolerated? The only thing that was rewarding was the weekend, vacations, and the paycheck. And they lived their entire working career barely liking their job. How many people? I know a lot.
Yeah.
So that, I think, is why, if we take it as that, most people want to retire, because they have simply survived and hope to God they live to get retirement. You know?
And for others who have worked hard and enjoyed their job, the luxury of being able to retire and pursue other things is a wonderful thing. Those who are so tied to their identity and need to continue soldiering on, I think we need to look at different avenues for what aging looks like, for what retirement looks like.
I like that.
Yeah. And allow people to retire, the financial element of it, as we're taking away more and more, and the top 1%'s taking that, and we're losing our ability to take care of ourselves financially. That's a major problem. And we need to look at different avenues to aging.
I like that too.
Thanks for listening. Now let's pack up this week's episode in the trunk.
Ride shotgun and be a part of our adventure by clicking on the plus sign to subscribe and follow our show. This will help our ratings and, more importantly, inspire us to keep creating fun and engaging content. We would love to hear from you in the comments sections, or email us at retiredpodcastnewtred@gmail.com. Use the fast track lane by sharing episodes with friends, family, and anyone who would like to join us on our road through retirement.
Be sure to check the show notes for links and contact information. Retired is chauffeured by Sue Britz and Tina Lokkbakk. It is produced, directed, and edited by me, Sue Britz. Music and graphics are by me too. Buckle up and tune in next week so that you won't miss your chance to
join our retired road trip. Sue, you made it through the
I know,
whole paragraph
and you were
so
watching me.
swimmingly well.